A millionaire pretended to be blind and fell in love with the housekeeper who made caring gestures, thinking he couldn't see. Before we start the story, leave in the comments what city you're watching from. And at the end, don't forget to rate this story from 0 to 10. Enjoy the story. 3 days passed from the moment Nathan Caldwell, CEO of Caldwell Industries, had a car accident on the way to the office until he finally opened his eyes in the hospital. Everything around him was calm, except for the unease of the doctors and family. They expected reports of pain, confusion, fear, but Nathan did not say a word. He only lifted his hand to his face and murmured that he couldn't see anything. Immediately, the medical team began a series of tests. Flashlights in front of his eyes, repeated movements, quick questions. Nothing seemed to trigger a reaction. The diagnosis came with a cautious tone. Temporary loss of vision, possibly reversible but with no guarantees. Nathan truly could not see. The darkness was total while he remained hospitalized. But everything changed the day he was discharged. On the way back home, during the silent drive along the road, his sight began to return as if a curtain were being pulled. First shadows, then shapes, and finally complete clarity. He could see again. And that was exactly when an unexpected idea came. In the last few months, something strange had been happening inside Caldwell Industries. Documents disappeared, decisions were made without his knowledge, and meetings appeared out of nowhere, always with uncomfortable looks when he entered the room. Nathan felt something was wrong, but he never got proof. When he realized his sight had returned, everything made sense in his mind. If no one knew about the recovery, if everyone kept believing he was vulnerable, maybe he would finally discover who was trying to harm him. So, still in the car seat, he decided to keep absolute silence. He would pretend to remain blind. He would use silence as a shield. He would turn that supposed weakness into the key to reveal who was loyal and who planned to bring him down. And that's exactly what he did. 2 weeks later, Nathan returned to the office wearing dark glasses and holding a cane. He walked slowly through the halls, tapping the cane on the floor, as if he were mapping the way. Employees stopped to look at him with pity. Some whispered, others looked away. But Nathan saw everything. He saw the accountant hide a folder when he walked past accounting. He saw the security guard whispering on the phone and hanging up quickly when he noticed Nathan's presence. He saw the secretary switch screens on the computer with a nervous click. And most of all, he saw Brandon, his best friend and partner, and Vanessa, his fiancée, exchanging looks in a way that wasn't normal between in-laws. Nathan pretended not to notice. He sat in the office chair, adjusted his dark glasses, and asked for coffee. Vanessa brought the cup with a smile that was a little too sweet. Brandon stood beside her, his hand brushing her arm for too long. Nathan drank the coffee in silence and thought he might have made the right choice. The Caldwell mansion felt far too empty after Nathan's wife died. His 6-year-old daughter Sophie spent most of her time with the nanny in her room. Nathan barely showed up there, always working late. The house was big, quiet, and cold. That's why the housekeeper suggested hiring someone to help with cleaning and organization. Someone who would live there and take care of everything while Nathan recovered from the accident. After all, a blind man needed help, right? Emma Garcia appeared at the mansion door on a Monday morning. 25 years old, a single mother of a 4-year-old boy named Lucas, desperately needing a job and a place to live. The housekeeper interviewed her, approved her on the spot, and explained the situation. The boss had gone blind after an accident. They needed someone discreet, efficient, and who wouldn't ask questions. Emma accepted without hesitation. On the first day, she saw Nathan for the first time. He came down the stairs slowly, wearing dark glasses, his hands sliding along the railing. Emma was in the hall arranging flowers in a vase. She stopped what she was doing and watched. He was handsome, very handsome. Dark hair a little messy, a strong jaw, broad shoulders under a white shirt. Emma felt her heart make a strange jump in her chest. She swallowed hard and went back to the flowers, pretending she wasn't looking. Nathan walked past her without saying anything. No good morning, no nod. He just headed toward the kitchen, the cane tapping on the marble floor. Emma bit her lip. Okay, he was handsome, but he was cold too. In the following days, Emma settled into a routine. She woke up early, made Nathan's coffee, cleaned the house, and made sure everything was in the right place. Lucas stayed playing in the small back room, very quiet, just as she had asked. The boss did not like noise. Emma crossed paths with Nathan in the hallways. Sometimes he asked for something. Other times he just walked past her in silence. But Emma always felt that tightness in her chest when she saw him. It was strange. She barely knew the man, but there was something about him that drew her in. Maybe it was the loneliness he carried, or maybe it was simply the fact that he was absurdly handsome even when sullen. One afternoon, Emma was cleaning the living room when she heard voices coming from Nathan's office. She recognized his voice, then a male voice she had heard before, Brandon, the partner, and a female voice too sweet to be sincere, Vanessa, the fiancée. Emma did not want to snoop, but the door was ajar. She kept wiping the furniture slowly, trying not to make noise. Brandon was talking about important papers. Vanessa laughed and said that Nathan trusted them. And Nathan, with that deep voice, replied that yes, he would sign whatever was necessary. Emma frowned. Something in the tone of that conversation did not sound right. That was when the door opened suddenly. Brandon came out first, straightening his tie with a wide smile. Vanessa came right behind, her lipstick smudged, her hair slightly messy. Emma lowered her head and pretended to be focused on cleaning. But she saw Brandon's hand brush Vanessa's waist. She saw the way the two looked at each other. She saw the knowing smile they exchanged before going down the hallway. Emma felt her stomach turn. She did not know Nathan well. They had barely talked. But something in her screamed that this was wrong, that those two were doing something behind his back. And he, thinking he was blind, could not see it. Emma squeezed the cleaning cloth in her hands. She did not know what to do. She did not know if she should get involved. After all, she was just the housekeeper. Nobody cared what she thought. But she could not get that scene out of her head. That night, after putting Lucas to sleep, Emma sat in the kitchen of the small back room, staring at nothing. Thinking about Nathan. Thinking about those two. Thinking about the way Vanessa had come out of the office. She needed to find out what was happening. The next morning, Emma woke up with Lucas jumping on her bed. The boy was hungry and wanted pancakes. Emma looked at the clock and jumped up. She was late. She ran to the mansion's main kitchen, with Lucas clinging to her leg like a koala. She needed to make Nathan's breakfast before he came downstairs. The boss liked strong coffee, toast, and fruit. Nothing very complicated, but it had to be ready at 7 o'clock sharp. Emma turned on the coffee maker and started slicing strawberries at an impressive speed. Lucas sat on the floor playing with a toy car, making engine sounds with his mouth. Emma looked at him and whispered, "Son, remember our deal?" Silence when the boss shows up. Lucas nodded but kept making car crash noises. Emma rolled her eyes and went back to cutting the fruit. That was when she heard footsteps coming down the stairs. Nathan was coming. She picked Lucas up, ran to the small back room, and closed the door. She returned to the kitchen in 3 seconds, fixed her hair, and pretended everything was under control. Nathan walked into the kitchen wearing dark glasses and carrying a cane. Emma held her breath. Every time she saw him, she felt that strange tightness in her chest. It was ridiculous. She barely knew the man. "Good morning, Mr. Caldwell. The coffee is ready." Nathan only nodded and sat at the table. Emma served the coffee, set the toast and fruit in front of him, and stood there, not knowing whether she should leave or wait. That was when the mansion's doorbell rang. Emma looked at Nathan, who did not move. Of course, he was waiting for her to answer. Emma ran to the door and opened it. On the other side were Brandon and Vanessa. They came in without asking permission, as if they owned the house. "Is Nathan in the kitchen?" Brandon asked, straightening his tie. "Yes, he is having breakfast." Brandon and Vanessa headed that way. Emma stood still in the hall, biting her lip. Something in her told her not to leave those two alone with Nathan. So she did the only thing she could think of. She followed them. She walked into the kitchen quietly and pretended to be cleaning the counter. Nathan was still seated, having his coffee. Brandon pulled out a chair and sat next to him. Vanessa stood, leaning on the counter, with a smile on her face. "Nathan, we need you to sign some papers today." Brandon took a folder from his bag and set it on the table. "It is about the share transfer we talked about yesterday." Emma stopped cleaning and looked at the scene. Nathan took the pen Brandon offered and held the papers, but he didn't sign. He stayed there with the pen in his hand, as if he were thinking. "You trust us, don't you?" Vanessa asked, her voice too sweet. "Of course I trust you," Nathan answered. Emma felt her stomach turn again. Something was wrong there. Very wrong. She looked at the papers on the table, at the pen in Nathan's hand, at Brandon and Vanessa's smile. And that was when she realized they were taking advantage of the fact that Nathan couldn't see to make him sign something he shouldn't. Emma's heart started to beat fast. She needed to do something. But what? Scream? Grab the papers from the table? That would get her fired on the spot. That was when she had a crazy idea. Emma picked up the hot coffee pot on the counter, took 2 steps toward the table, and without thinking much, poured the coffee over the papers. Everything happened fast. The dark liquid spread across the table, soaking the documents. Brandon jumped up, shouting. Vanessa let out a curse. Nathan stood still, mouth open. "I'm sorry! I'm sorry!" "I tripped," Emma shouted, pretending despair. "My God, what a horrible thing! Let me clean it." She grabbed a cloth and started wiping over the papers, spreading the coffee even more and destroying any chance of saving those documents. "Are you stupid or what?" Vanessa shouted, her eyes red with anger. "Look what you did. It wasn't on purpose, I swear." Emma kept scrubbing the cloth, making sure none of that could be read. Brandon looked at the soaked papers and then at Nathan. "We'll have to bring another copy. This one won't work anymore." Nathan stayed silent. He only took off his dark glasses for a second, cleaned the lenses, and put them back on. Emma thought she saw a slight smile at the corner of his mouth, but she wasn't sure. Brandon and Vanessa left the kitchen furious. Emma heard the front door slam. She stayed there, still, with the cloth in her hand, waiting to be fired. But Nathan just got up from the chair, picked up the cane, and left the kitchen without saying a word. Emma took a deep breath. She had managed to stop him from signing those papers. But now she needed to find out what exactly was written on them. The next day, Emma was cleaning the living room when the mansion's phone rang. She answered. It was Nathan's secretary. He wanted to speak to her in his office. Now, Emma's heart raced. That was it. She was going to be fired. She went up the stairs slowly, rehearsing excuses in her head. She knocked on the office door. "You may come in." Emma opened the door. Nathan was sitting behind the desk, wearing dark glasses, his hands folded in front of him. Emma swallowed hard. "You spilled coffee on my documents yesterday." "It wasn't on purpose, sir." "I tripped." Nathan was silent for a few seconds. Then he spoke. "I want to offer you a new job." Emma blinked. "What?" "I need someone to live here in the mansion full-time. Someone to take care of the house, prepare meals, help with my daughter. Do you accept?" Emma couldn't believe what she was hearing. He wasn't going to fire her. He was offering a better job. "Yes, of course I accept." "Great, but there's one condition." Nathan tilted his head. "I heard you have a son." "I do. He is 4 years old." "Then here's the rule. The boy can live here, but I don't want to see or hear him around the house. No noise, no mess. He needs to be invisible while I'm around. Can you guarantee that?" Emma felt a stab in her chest. It was a hard condition, but she had no choice. "Yes, sir, I can." "Great. You can move in tomorrow." Emma left the office still in disbelief. She had gotten a better job and a real home for her and Lucas, but the condition Nathan had set hurt. To make her son invisible, as if he didn't exist. That night, Emma knelt in front of Lucas and explained the situation. "Son, we are going to live here for real now, but the boss doesn't like noise, so you will have to be very quiet when he is around, like a silent ninja. Can you do that?" Lucas made a serious face and nodded. "I can, Mom. I will be the quietest ninja in the world." Emma hugged her son and felt her eyes sting. Everything was going to work out. It had to, because now she wasn't there just to work. She was there to protect Nathan from those 2 traitors, even if he never knew it. The next morning, Emma woke up to Lucas already dressed and ready for the day. The boy had put a black scarf around his neck and was walking on tiptoe through the house. "What are you doing, son?" "Training to be a ninja, Mom," Lucas whispered, striking a fighting pose. "I'll be so quiet that not even the ants will hear me." Emma held back a laugh. "Great, champ, but take off that scarf before you melt from the heat." The move to the mansion's quarters was quick. Emma and Lucas had few belongings. 2 suitcases of clothes, a few toys, and a framed photo of Emma's grandmother. She put everything away in the room Nathan had set aside for them. It was 3 times bigger than the apartment where they used to live. Lucas ran back and forth, testing the echo of his voice. "Son, remember the rule." Lucas covered his mouth with his hands and nodded. Emma took a deep breath. This was going to be harder than she had imagined. In the late afternoon, Emma went to the kitchen to prepare dinner. Nathan had asked for something light. She decided to make grilled chicken with vegetables. Simple but well made. While she was seasoning the meat, she heard small footsteps behind her. She turned and saw a little girl standing in the kitchen doorway. Nathan's daughter, Sophie. 6 years old, blonde hair and 2 braids, a pink dress full of ruffles. The girl looked at Emma with curiosity. "Hi," Emma smiled. "You must be Sophie." The girl nodded. "Are you the new lady who's going to live here?" "I am. My name is Emma." Sophie came into the kitchen and sat on a tall stool. "Do you know how to make cookies?" Emma blinked. "Yes, I do." "Then can you teach me?" "The nanny never wants to make cookies with me. She says it makes too much of a mess." Emma looked at the girl. There was sadness in those big eyes. A sadness that did not fit a 6-year-old child. "Of course I can teach you. How about tomorrow afternoon?" Sophie's face lit up. "Really? Do you promise?" "I promise." Sophie jumped off the stool and ran out of the kitchen. Emma stayed there thinking. That girl lived in that huge mansion and barely had anyone to play with. The nanny didn't give her attention. And Nathan, from what Emma had seen, hardly spoke to his daughter. It was far too sad. The next day, Emma kept her promise. She called Sophie to the kitchen and the 2 of them started making chocolate cookies. The girl was radiant. She mixed the ingredients with such enthusiasm that flour flew everywhere. That was when Lucas appeared in the kitchen doorway. He had heard the laughter and couldn't resist. Emma signaled for him to be quiet, but Sophie had already seen him. "Who is that boy?" Emma swallowed. "This is Lucas, my son." "You have a son?" Sophie ran to Lucas. "Hi, do you want to make cookies with us?" Lucas looked at Emma, who nodded. The 2 of them started to play, while Emma finished baking the cookies. Sophie laughed so much that Emma was afraid Nathan would hear. But he was in the office, locked in meetings all day. When the cookies were ready, Emma put some on a plate and decided to take them to Nathan. She went up the stairs, knocked on the office door, and went in. Nathan was sitting behind the desk, wearing dark glasses, leafing through papers. "I brought cookies, sir. I just made them." Nathan raised his head. "Thank you." Emma set the plate on the desk and was about to leave when he spoke. "Did you make these cookies by yourself?" "No, sir. I made them with Sophie. She helped me." Nathan fell silent. Emma waited, not sure if she should keep talking. "My daughter rarely goes into the kitchen. Today she did, and she had a lot of fun." Nathan picked up a cookie and took a bite. Emma saw a strange expression pass over his face, as if he were remembering something far away. "They're good." "Thank you, sir." Emma left the office and went down the stairs. She couldn't explain it, but she felt she had just touched a wound Nathan hid very well. His relationship with his daughter was far too cold, far too distant, as if he were afraid to get close. In the following days, Emma set a routine in the mansion. She woke up early, prepared Nathan's coffee, took care of the house, played with Sophie, and kept Lucas hidden whenever the boss appeared. Lucas took the ninja mission seriously. He hid behind doors, walked on tiptoe, and spoke only in whispers when Nathan was around. But Emma started doing something she didn't quite understand herself. When Nathan walked through the living room and she thought he wasn't looking, she blew kisses in the air. When he went up the stairs, she made a heart with her hands. When he had coffee, she gestured like a devoted fan, laughing to herself at her own foolishness. After all, he was blind. He couldn't see any of that. Or at least, that's what Emma thought. Nathan saw everything. Every kiss blown into the air. Every heart made with her hands. Every muffled giggle. And for the first time in a long time, he felt something thaw inside his chest. That woman was ridiculously funny, and far too sincere for her own good. One afternoon, Emma was cleaning the living room when she heard the doorbell. She opened the door and came face to face with Brandon and Vanessa. "Again, we came to talk to Nathan." Brandon walked in without waiting for an invitation. "Is he here?" "He's in the office." They went upstairs. Emma stood still in the hall, biting her lip. Those 2 would not give up. She needed to find out what they were planning. So she did what any desperate person would do. She went up the stairs after them and pressed her ear to the office door. "Nathan, we brought new documents," Vanessa said, her voice sweet. "Documents the clumsy employee won't destroy this time." Emma felt her blood boil. Clumsy? She had saved Nathan from signing those papers. "You need to sign today, Nathan," Brandon insisted. "It's for the good of the company." Emma heard the sound of papers being placed on the table. Her heart raced. She couldn't let that happen again. But what to do? Spill coffee again? They would suspect it. That was when she had a brilliant idea. Or maybe just a desperate one. Emma ran down to the kitchen, grabbed the portable fire alarm that was kept in the cabinet, and went back to the hallway. She pressed the button. The alarm started to blare at a deafening volume. "Fire! Fire!" Emma shouted, knocking on the office door. "Everyone needs to get out now." The door opened. Brandon was red with anger. "What fire? There's no fire." "There is. In the kitchen." Emma pointed to the stairs. "Go out quickly." Vanessa ran downstairs. Brandon hesitated, looked at the papers on Nathan's desk, but ended up following Vanessa. Nathan stood still, wearing dark glasses, not moving. "Mr. Caldwell, you need to get out." Emma held his arm. Nathan let her guide him out of the office. When they reached the garden, Brandon and Vanessa were looking around, searching for signs of smoke. There was nothing. "Where is the fire?" Brandon shouted. Emma faked confusion. "I swear I saw smoke in the kitchen." "It must have been a short in the stove." Vanessa snorted. "You are completely incompetent." Emma lowered her head, pretending to be ashamed. But inside she smiled. She had managed to stop Nathan from signing those papers again. Brandon and Vanessa left furious. Nathan stood in the garden, saying nothing. Emma was beside him, holding her breath. "You are very creative with emergencies," Nathan said, his voice neutral. Emma swallowed hard. "I'm sorry, sir. I really thought I saw smoke." Nathan turned his face toward her. Even behind the dark glasses, Emma felt he was looking straight at her. "Thank you." Emma blinked. "For what?" "For taking such good care of this house." Nathan went back into the mansion, leaving Emma alone in the garden. She stayed there, confused, her heart beating fast. He knew. Somehow, Nathan knew she was protecting him. And Emma was sure that changed everything. That night, Emma couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned, thinking about the way Nathan had thanked her. There was something different in that tone of voice. Something that left her confused and at the same time excited. The next morning, Emma woke up determined to find out exactly what Brandon and Vanessa wanted Nathan to sign. She needed concrete proof. She couldn't keep just getting in their way without really understanding what was happening. She went down to the kitchen and started making coffee. Sophie showed up still in her pajamas, dragging a teddy bear. "Good morning, Emma." "Good morning, Princess. Did you sleep well?" "More or less. I had a dream that Lucas and I were superheroes." Emma smiled. "And did you save the world?" "No. We just ate ice cream while flying." Emma let out a laugh. Lucas showed up right after, already dressed as a ninja again. The two children sat at the table and Emma served pancakes with honey. That was when Nathan came downstairs. Emma held her breath. He wasn't wearing dark glasses. His eyes were blue, deep, and seemed to look straight at her. Emma felt her face grow warm. "Good morning, Mr. Caldwell." Nathan didn't answer. He just looked at the table where Sophie and Lucas were eating together, laughing. His face grew serious. "Emma, may I speak with you?" "Of course." Nathan left the kitchen. Emma followed, her heart tight. He was going to scold her for letting Lucas appear. She had broken the rule. Nathan stopped in the hallway and turned to her. "I said I didn't want to see the boy around the house." Emma lowered her head. "I know, sir. I'm sorry. He was hungry, and I ended up letting him have breakfast with Sophie. It won't happen again." Nathan was silent for a few seconds. Then he sighed. "Actually, maybe I was too hard with that rule." Emma lifted her head, surprised. "What? Sophie seems happier with another child around." Emma blinked. She didn't know what to say. Nathan was backing down? That was unexpected. "So Lucas can stay with Sophie?" "He can, but only when I'm not working." Nathan straightened his tie. "And you're still responsible for making sure they don't make a mess." "You can count on me, sir. I'll keep an eye on both of them." Nathan waved and went back to the office. Emma stood still in the hallway, still processing what had happened. He had just allowed Lucas to play with Sophie. That was a miracle. Or maybe Nathan was starting to change. In the afternoon, Emma decided she needed to investigate. She waited for Nathan to leave for a meeting at the company and went to his office. The door was unlocked. She went in, her heart beating fast. The desk was organized, papers stacked, pens aligned, laptop closed. Emma looked around, searching for anything that could give clues about what Brandon and Vanessa wanted. She opened a drawer. Nothing but old documents. She opened another. More papers. That was when she saw a folder marked with a yellow post-it. Stock transfer. Urgent. Emma picked up the folder and opened it. Inside there was a contract. She began to read, but the legal language was too complicated. Words like assignment of rights and transfer of corporate control jumped off the page. Emma frowned. That seemed serious. She took her phone out of her pocket and photographed the pages. Then she put everything back in place and left the office in silence. She needed to show that to someone who understood business. But who? That night, Emma was in the kitchen preparing dinner when the doorbell rang. She wiped her hands on the apron and went to answer it. On the other side was a woman of about 50, gray hair and a bun, gentle smile. "Hi, dear. I'm Helen, the cook at the Morrison mansion. The neighbors here. I came to bring a welcome cake." Emma smiled. "How kind. Thank you. Would you like to come in?" Helen came in and they went to the kitchen. Emma served coffee and cut the cake. Helen started talking about the neighborhood, about how she had worked for the Morrisons for 15 years, about how she had known Nathan since before his wife passed away. Emma stopped chewing. "His wife passed away?" "Yes, dear, about 3 years ago. It was very sad. Nathan was completely lost. And little Sophie was so young." Emma felt her chest tighten. That explained a lot. His coldness. The distance from his daughter. He was hurting and did not know how to deal with it. Helen kept talking. "And now with this accident that left him blind, it must be even harder." Emma bit her lip. She wanted to say that Nathan was not really blind, but held her tongue. She could not trust anyone yet. After Helen left, Emma went upstairs to put Lucas and Sophie to bed. The 2 children were in Sophie's room, drawing. Emma sat on the bed and watched. Lucas had drawn a superhero with a cape. Sophie had drawn a family, father, mother, and 2 children. Emma felt her eyes sting. That little girl needed so much attention, affection, someone to play with her. The next morning, Emma decided to do something bold. She prepared the coffee, but instead of leaving it on the table and leaving, she stayed there when Nathan came down. "Mr. Caldwell, may I ask you something?" Nathan sat down and picked up the cup. "You may." "Why don't you spend more time with Sophie?" Nathan froze, the cup in the air. "That question is outside the scope of your job." "I know." Emma crossed her arms. "But Sophie is an amazing girl and she misses her father. You don't know what you're talking about." "I do." Emma took a step forward. "I know you lost your wife. I know it must be hard, but it is not Sophie's fault. She just wants her father to pay attention to her." Nathan stood up abruptly. "Be careful with what you say." Emma did not step back. "Or what? Are you going to fire me? Then fire me. But before I leave, I'm going to say something. That little girl needs you. And you need her too, you just don't want to admit it." Nathan was silent. Emma waited, her heart out of rhythm. She had crossed the line. She knew it. But she could not stay quiet seeing that situation. "Leave the kitchen," Nathan said, his voice low. Emma obeyed. She went up to the room, sat on the bed, and waited to be called to hear that she was fired. But the call did not come. Hours later, Emma was in the garden with Lucas and Sophie when she saw Nathan leaving the mansion. He walked to where the children were playing, stopped, and stood there, just watching. Sophie ran to him. "Daddy, do you want to play with us?" Nathan hesitated. Emma held her breath. "Come on, think about your daughter," she murmured softly. "Not now, Sophie. I have work." The girl lowered her head. "Okay." Nathan went back inside. Emma felt like shouting at him, but she held back. Changes did not happen overnight. She needed to be patient. That afternoon, Emma was cleaning the living room when she heard noise upstairs. She ran up and found Lucas and Sophie in Nathan's room, looking at the photos on the shelf. "Children, what are you doing here? We just wanted to see Daddy's photos." Sophie was holding a frame. "Is this his mom?" Emma picked up the photo. It was a younger Nathan next to a beautiful woman, smiling. The 2 looked happy. Emma felt a tightness in her chest. "Let's get out of here before your father sees." Too late. Nathan was standing at the door, sunglasses on his face. Emma froze. "Mr. Caldwell, I am sorry. They came in here without me seeing." Nathan walked into the room, took the photo from Sophie's hands, and looked at it. Even with the glasses, Emma was sure he was seeing. "This was your mother. She was beautiful," Sophie whispered. "She was." Nathan put the photo back on the shelf, "and she loved you very much." Sophie hugged her father. Emma took Lucas by the hand and left the room in silence, leaving father and daughter alone. Later, Emma was in the kitchen when Nathan appeared. "Thank you." Emma turned around. "For what?" "For not giving up." Nathan tilted his head. "You are too persistent for your own good." Emma smiled. "It is part of the package." Nathan almost smiled back. Almost. The next morning, Emma woke up with Lucas jumping on her bed singing a song about ninjas. She looked at the clock and jumped up. She was late again. "Son, you need to wake me up earlier, not when I am already late." "But I tried, Mom." "You were snoring very loud." Emma stopped in the middle of the room. "I do not snore." "You do. You sound like a bear with a sore throat." Emma rolled her eyes and ran to the kitchen. Nathan was already sitting at the table, waiting for coffee. She felt her face heat up. "Good morning, sir." "Sorry I am late." "No problem." Emma made the coffee quickly and put toast in front of him. Nathan took one and started eating. Emma stood there, not knowing whether she should leave or stay. "You watch me every morning." Nathan spoke without lifting his head. Emma choked. "I do not watch you." "You do. I hear your breathing." Emma felt her face burn. "I am sorry. It is just that I want to make sure everything is right." "Everything is right." Emma left the kitchen almost running. That man had bat hearing, or else he was lying about not seeing. Emma stopped in the hallway. No, it could not be. He had hit the cane on everything, had stumbled a few times. He really was blind. Or he was a very good actor. In the afternoon, Emma got a call. It was from a lawyer she had reached through Helen. Emma had sent the photos of the documents for him to analyze. The man asked to talk in person. Emma arranged to meet him at a cafe near the mansion. She left Lucas and Sophie with the nanny and went out. When she arrived, the lawyer was already waiting. He was a man of about 60, thick glasses, leather briefcase on the table. "Miss Garcia, thank you for coming." He opened the briefcase and took out the papers Emma had photographed. "These documents are very serious." "What do they mean?" "It means that if Mr. Caldwell signs this, he will transfer control of the company to other people. Basically, he loses everything." Emma felt her stomach turn. But why would someone do this to him? Usually it is for money. The lawyer adjusted his glasses. These people must be planning to take his company and then sell it or use it for their own benefit. Emma clenched her hands. "I need to stop this. The best way is to convince Mr. Caldwell not to sign." "But does he trust these people?" Emma bit her lip. "He does. They are his best friend and his fiancée." The lawyer sighed. "Then it will be hard. People like that know how to manipulate. You need concrete proof of the betrayal. How do I get that?" "Recordings, conversations, anything that shows their true intentions." Emma left the cafe with her head burning. She needed proof. But how to get it? She could not simply record Brandon and Vanessa without them knowing. Or could she? When she returned to the mansion, Emma went straight to her room and searched on her phone. She found a voice recording app. Perfect. The next time those two showed up, she would leave the phone recording in secret. The next morning, Emma was in the living room when the doorbell rang. She opened the door and came face to face with Vanessa. The woman walked in without greeting, her high heels hitting the marble floor. "Is Nathan in?" "He is in the office." Vanessa went upstairs. Emma waited a few seconds and followed. She put the phone in recording mode, left it in a plant pot near the office door, and went back to the hallway, pretending to clean. Inside the office, Vanessa closed the door. Nathan was sitting behind the desk. She came closer, placed her hands on his shoulders, and began to massage. "You are so tense, love. I have been working a lot. You need to trust me and Brandon more." Vanessa leaned in and whispered near his ear, "We only want what is best for you." Nathan stayed silent. Vanessa kept massaging his shoulders, her voice too sweet. "Those documents we brought are important. You need to sign them soon. I will analyze them calmly. But you can't even read well right now." Vanessa gave a little kiss on his neck. "Let us handle this. Do you trust me?" Nathan took a deep breath. "I do." Vanessa smiled. "Great, then sign tomorrow." She left the office. Emma had gone back to the living room and pretended to be fixing pillows. Vanessa passed by without looking and left. As soon as the door closed, Emma ran to the vase and took out her phone. She had recorded everything. She listened to the conversation twice. Vanessa was clearly manipulating Nathan. But was that enough proof? Emma wasn't sure. She needed more. That afternoon, Emma was in the garden with Lucas and Sophie when Nathan appeared. He walked over to where they were and stopped. Emma held her breath. "May I sit?" "Of course, sir." Nathan sat on the wooden bench. Sophie ran to him and climbed onto his lap. "Daddy," Emma said, "she is going to make chocolate cake today. Do you like chocolate cake?" "I do." "Then come eat with us." Nathan hesitated. Emma saw the inner struggle on his face. "All right, I will." Sophie shouted with joy and ran back to play with Lucas. Nathan stayed sitting next to Emma. The two were silent for a few minutes, just watching the children. "You are trying to turn me into a better father," Nathan said suddenly. Emma smiled. "I am trying to make you see that you already have an amazing daughter. You just need to pay attention to her." "It's not that simple." "Why not?" Nathan took off his dark glasses and cleaned the lenses. Emma saw his blue eyes for the second time. They were sad but beautiful. "Because every time I look at her, I see her mother, and it hurts too much." Emma felt her chest tighten. "I understand, but Sophie is not to blame for that, and she needs her father." "I know." Nathan put his glasses back on. "I'm trying." Emma put her hand on his shoulder without thinking. "That is a start." Nathan looked toward her hand. Emma realized what she had done and quickly pulled her hand away. "I'm sorry. You do not need to apologize." They were silent again. Emma felt her heart beating fast. It was getting harder and harder to pretend she didn't feel anything for that man. He was complicated, closed off, difficult. But there was something about him that drew her like a magnet. That night, Emma made the promised chocolate cake. She set the table, called Nathan, Sophie, and Lucas. The four of them sat together for the first time. Sophie would not stop talking, telling stories about school, about the drawings she had made, about the dog she wanted as a gift. Nathan listened in silence, but Emma noticed that he was paying attention. From time to time, he asked a question. Sophie lit up every time her father showed interest. Lucas also joined the conversation, talking about his ninja training. Nathan almost smiled when the boy showed a fighter's pose. After dinner, Emma took the children to sleep. When she came back, Nathan was still in the living room, sitting on the sofa. She was going to go up to her room when he called her. "Emma," she stopped. "Yes, sir?" "Thank you for dinner. It had been a long time since I sat at the table with my daughter." Emma smiled. "It was a pleasure. And thank you for taking such good care of her." "I like Sophie. She is special." Nathan nodded. Emma was going to go upstairs again when he spoke again. "And you, as well." Emma froze. "What? I like having you here. You brought life to this house." Emma felt her face grow warm. "I'm glad to help." Nathan stood up and walked toward the stairs. Emma stayed standing in the living room, her heart racing. Had that been a compliment? A thank you? Or something more? She didn't know, but one thing was certain: it was getting harder and harder to keep her distance. And by the way Nathan had spoken, he was feeling it too. Emma went up to her room, lay down on the bed, and stared at the ceiling. She needed to control herself. Nathan was the boss. She was the employee. She couldn't mix things up. But the heart doesn't understand logic, and hers was beating stronger and stronger for that complicated, reserved, and strikingly handsome man who pretended to be blind. The next morning, Emma woke up to a strange noise coming from the garden. She got up still in her pajamas and looked out the window. It was Nathan. He was running after Lucas and Sophie, the children shouting with joy as they ran from him. Emma rubbed her eyes. Was she dreaming? Nathan Caldwell, the most serious man she knew, was playing tag with the children? She ran downstairs and went out to the garden. Nathan had Sophie in his arms and pretended he was going to throw her in the pool. The girl was laughing so much she could barely breathe. Lucas was jumping around, shouting for the boss to catch him too. "Good morning," Emma said, still processing the scene. Nathan turned his face toward her. "Good morning." His voice sounded different, lighter, almost cheerful. "I didn't know you woke up so early. I decided to enjoy the day." Nathan put Sophie down. "Children have a lot of energy." Emma smiled. "I have been saying that for weeks." Sophie ran to Emma. "Look, Daddy is playing with us. It's the best morning of my life." Emma felt her eyes sting. "That's wonderful, Princess." The children went back to running through the garden. Nathan stood beside Emma. The two of them watched Lucas and Sophie playing. The silence was comfortable, almost intimate. "You were right," Nathan said suddenly. "I was losing precious time with my daughter." "There is still time to make it up." "I hope so." Emma looked at him. Nathan was wearing dark glasses, but there was something different in his face, a softness that had not been there before. She felt her heart give that strange leap again. That afternoon, Emma was in the kitchen preparing lunch when she heard the doorbell. She wiped her hands and went to answer it. Brandon was at the door, alone this time. "Is Nathan here?" "He's in the office." Brandon walked in and went straight upstairs. Emma stood in the hall, her heart racing. She needed to record that conversation too. She ran to the bedroom, grabbed her phone, came back, and left the device hidden in the same flower pot. Inside the office, Brandon closed the door and sat in front of Nathan. "I brought the final documents. You need to sign today." "Today?" Nathan crossed his arms. "Why the rush?" "Because the purchase offer from Peterson Corp has a deadline. If you don't transfer the shares now, we lose the deal." Nathan was silent. Brandon went on. "Trust me, partner. This is the best for the company. I need to read the documents carefully." "You can't read," Brandon said, his voice impatient. "That's why I'm here, to help you." Nathan took a deep breath. "I'll think about it." "There is no time to think." Brandon slapped his hand on the table. "You need to sign now. I am not going to sign anything under pressure." Brandon stood up, furious. "You are being stubborn." Vanessa was right. "You have changed since that cleaning lady got here." Emma stopped breathing. Was he talking about her? "She is putting ideas in your head." Brandon pointed a finger at Nathan. "Making you distrust the people who really care about you." "Emma has nothing to do with my decisions." "Yes, she does." Brandon walked around the desk. "You need to choose. Do you trust us or her?" Nathan stood up too. "I will not be threatened in my own office. Leave." Brandon left, slamming the door. Emma ran to get the phone. She had recorded everything. That was gold. Brandon had talked about Peterson Corp, about selling the company, about pressuring Nathan. It was the proof she needed. When Nathan came down for lunch, Emma served the food in silence. He ate without saying anything. Emma noticed he was tense, different from the cheerful morning in the garden. "Mr. Caldwell, is everything all right?" Nathan put down his fork. "No, it's not. Do you want to talk about it?" "I don't know whom to trust anymore." Emma sat in the chair beside him. "You can trust me." Nathan turned his face toward her. "Why do you care so much?" Emma bit her lip. "Because you deserve honest people around you, and because I care about Sophie." "Only about Sophie?" Emma felt her face grow warm. "No. I care about you too." Nathan was silent. Emma stood up quickly. "I will get dessert." She spent the rest of the day avoiding Nathan. She felt she had said too much, revealed too much. He was the boss. She was the employee. She needed to keep her distance. But at night, when she was putting Lucas to bed, there was a knock at the bedroom door. Emma opened it. Nathan was there, without a cane, without dark glasses. Emma choked. "Mr. Caldwell, I need to talk to you." Emma stepped into the hallway and closed the door. "Did something happen?" Nathan took a step closer. "I heard you in the kitchen the other day." Emma's eyes widened. "Heard what?" "You talking with someone about the documents. About protecting me." Emma felt the ground disappear under her feet. "I can explain." "There's no need." Nathan took another step. "I know you are trying to help me, and I know you found something out about Brandon and Vanessa." "How do you know?" "Because I also suspect them." Nathan tilted his head. "And because I saw you putting the phone in the flower pot to record the conversations." Emma stopped breathing. "You saw? But you are blind?" Nathan smiled. "No, Emma, I'm not." Emma felt her legs shake. "What? I have pretended to be blind since the accident. To find out who was betraying me." Nathan took the dark glasses from his pocket and showed them. "These glasses are transparent. I see everything." Emma leaned against the wall. "So you saw me? Blowing kisses into the air? Making hearts with your hands?" "Yes, I saw everything." Emma covered her face with her hands. "I want to die." Nathan laughed. "It was the most sincere thing anyone has ever done for me." Emma lowered her hands. "You're not angry?" "Angry?" Nathan came even closer. "I'm impressed. You spilled coffee on important documents, invented a fire, recorded conversations, all to protect me. I didn't want you to lose the company, and I don't want to lose you." Emma felt her heart stop. "How?" Nathan held her face with both hands. "You brought life to this house. You brought joy to my daughter, and you brought something I thought I had lost forever." "What?" "The will to live." Emma felt her eyes burn. Mr. Caldwell. Nathan. Call me Nathan, Nathan, Emma whispered. I don't know what to say. Then don't say anything. Nathan tilted his head and Emma closed her eyes, waiting for the kiss. But it didn't come. She opened her eyes. Nathan had taken a step back. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. Why not? Because you work for me, and I don't want you to feel pressured. Emma took a step forward. I don't feel pressured. Are you sure? Absolutely. Nathan smiled. That beautiful smile Emma had seen so few times. Then can we try again? Emma nodded. Nathan held her face again, and this time, the kiss happened. It was gentle, careful, full of unspoken promises. When they pulled apart, Emma was out of breath. Wow. Nathan laughed. Wow is a good way to put it. Emma rested her forehead against his. And now? Now we're going to expose Brandon and Vanessa. Nathan held her hand. Together. Together. Emma repeated. And for the first time since she had arrived at that mansion, Emma felt she was exactly where she should be. The next morning, Emma woke up thinking she had dreamed it all. The kiss, the reveal, the fact that Nathan wasn't blind. But when she went down to the kitchen, he was there, without dark glasses, smiling. Good morning, Nathan said, his blue eyes fixed on her. Emma felt her face grow warm. Good morning. She was still processing this new Nathan, the one who smiled, the one who could see, the one who had kissed her. Are you going to stand there or make coffee? Emma blinked. Oh yes, coffee, of course. She turned on the coffee maker with trembling hands. Nathan came up behind her and whispered in her ear. Relax, I'm still me. Emma turned around. But you're not blind. I'm not. And you can stop calling me sir. Nathan smiled. Especially after what happened yesterday. Emma covered her face. Don't remind me of that. Why? It was good. It was great. Emma admitted. But now I don't know how to act. Act normal. Nathan held her hand. Only now I can do this. He kissed her forehead. Emma felt her heart melt. Okay. Normal. I can do that. Of course you can. Now give me that coffee before I die of thirst. Emma laughed and poured the cup. The two sat at the table. Nathan picked up her phone. Can you show me the recordings? Emma opened the app and handed over the phone. Nathan listened to everything. The conversation with Vanessa, the conversation with Brandon. When he finished, he was serious. This is enough to expose them. But I want more. More what? I want them to fully incriminate themselves. Nathan handed back the phone. I'll set a meeting today. I'll say I'm ready to sign the documents. But you're not actually going to sign, right? Of course not. Nathan smiled. But they don't know that. I'll let them feel confident. Let them reveal everything, and you will record it. Emma nodded. I'm in. Sophie and Lucas ran into the kitchen. Both stopped when they saw Nathan without dark glasses. Daddy, you took off your glasses. Sophie shouted. I did. Nathan opened his arms. Come here. Sophie jumped into his lap. Does that mean you can see again? It does. Nathan kissed her head. And the first thing I want to see clearly is you. Sophie hugged her father tightly. Emma felt her eyes burn. Lucas tugged on her sleeve. Mom, isn't the boss blind anymore? No, son, he got better. That's good. Lucas smiled. Now he can see my real ninja moves. Nathan laughed. You can show me after coffee. The children sat at the table. Emma served pancakes for everyone. While they ate, Nathan called Brandon and Vanessa. I set a meeting for today at 3 in the afternoon. Bring the documents. I'm ready to sign. Emma heard the excitement in Brandon's voice on the other end of the line. Perfect, partner. We'll be there. When Nathan hung up, Emma asked, Will they believe it? They will. Nathan picked up the dark glasses and put them back on. Because I'm going to keep pretending I'm blind. Until the right moment. In the afternoon, Emma prepared everything. She put the phone in recording mode and hid it in 3 different places in the meeting room. One behind the plant pot, another under the table, the third inside a half-open drawer. Nathan had said to make sure nothing failed. At exactly 3, the doorbell rang. Emma opened the door. Brandon and Vanessa walked in with wide smiles. They looked like animals about to devour their prey. Nathan is waiting in the meeting room. Emma said, keeping her voice neutral. The two went in. Emma followed them and stayed near the door, pretending to arrange some books on the shelf. Nathan was sitting at the table, wearing dark glasses, the cane at his side. Partner? Brandon put the folder on the table. Today is a big day. It is. Nathan pretended to search for something in the air. Can you sit down? Vanessa sat next to Nathan and held his hand. I'm so proud of you, my love. You're doing the right thing. Emma clenched her fists. That woman was a snake. Brandon opened the folder and spread the documents on the table. Here is everything. You sign on the marked pages and that's it. The transfer of the shares will be immediate. And after that? Nathan asked. After that we sell the company to Peterson Corp., Brandon said, excited. They are offering a fortune. Vanessa nudged Brandon. He meant that we will restructure the company. No, Vanessa. Brandon laughed. You can tell the truth. He won't know anything anyway. We sell everything, take the money and disappear. Emma's eyes widened. They were confessing everything right there in front of Nathan, thinking he understood nothing. Nathan kept up the act. And how much will I receive? You? Brandon let out a laugh. Nothing, partner. You are transferring everything to me and Vanessa. Remember? But I thought you were my friends. Friends? Vanessa let go of Nathan's hand. Please. I only got engaged to you for the money. Do you really think I would marry a depressed and blind widower? Emma felt her blood boil. She wanted to run over there and pull that woman out of the chair. Nathan tilted his head. So you deceived me all this time? We did. Brandon patted him on the back. But relax. You will keep receiving an allowance. It's not much, but you can get by. Vanessa laughed. And I will finally be able to be with Brandon without having to pretend that I love you. The two kissed right there, in front of Nathan. Emma couldn't stand it anymore. She took a step forward, ready to yell at them both. But Nathan raised his hand, signaling for her to wait. So you are together? Nathan asked, his voice still calm. For 2 years, Brandon answered. Since before your accident. Actually, we planned the accident. Emma covered her mouth. They had planned it? Nathan clenched his fists under the table. What do you mean you planned it? It was simple. Brandon shrugged. I knew you were going to that meeting that day. I paid a guy to cut the brakes of your car. You were lucky to survive. Vanessa laughed. We thought you would die. Then we would inherit everything. But you survived and pretended you were blind, which ended up being better. Because now you're going to sign everything thinking you are doing the right thing. Nathan took off his dark glasses slowly. Do you know what's funny? What? Brandon asked. I was never blind. Vanessa froze. How? I pretended. Nathan stood up. To find out exactly what you were doing, and you just confessed everything. Brandon went pale. You are lying. I'm not. Nathan pointed to the 3 hidden cell phones, and everything was recorded. Brandon ran to the vase and grabbed one of the phones. The screen showed the recording in progress. He threw the device on the floor. It doesn't matter. You have no way to prove anything. Yes, I do. Nathan picked up his own phone and showed it. I was recording too. And I sent a copy to my lawyer 5 minutes ago. Vanessa stood up, shaking. Nathan, we can explain. No need to explain. Nathan crossed his arms. You tried to kill me. You tried to steal my company. You lied to me for years, and I heard every word. Brandon took a step forward. You are not going to do anything. You love me like a brother. I did, Nathan corrected him. But you betrayed that trust, and now you will pay for it. Emma appeared beside Nathan. Besides the recordings, I have copies of the fraudulent documents you brought, and a record of all the times you came here to pressure him. Vanessa looked at Emma with hate. You. This is your fault. You turned him against us. No. Emma took a step forward. You did that yourselves. I only protected him. Nathan held Emma's hand, and she did an excellent job. Brandon still tried to argue. Nathan, think carefully. We have been friends for 20 years. A friend does not try to kill a friend. Nathan pointed to the door. Get out of my house. Now, you are going to regret this. Vanessa shouted. The only thing I regret is having trusted you. Nathan picked up his phone. Now leave before I call the police. Brandon and Vanessa ran out. Emma heard the door slam. She stayed in silence beside Nathan, both of them taking deep breaths. It's over, Nathan whispered. It's finally over. Emma held his face. Are you okay? I am, Nathan smiled. Mostly because you were here with me. I always will be. Nathan kissed her. This time it was more intense, more desperate, as if he had been holding back for a long time. When they pulled apart, Emma was out of breath. Is it over now? She asked. Now it is. Nathan rested his forehead against hers. And we can start something new. Something new, Emma repeated, smiling. I like that. That night, Emma could not sleep. She kept turning in bed, thinking about everything that had happened. Brandon and Vanessa had tried to kill Nathan. They cut the brakes on his car. This was much more serious than she imagined. The next morning, Emma went down to the kitchen and found Nathan already awake, talking on the phone with the lawyer. She made coffee in silence while she listened to parts of the conversation. Yes, I have all the recordings. Nathan spoke seriously. I want them to be prosecuted. Attempted murder, fraud, everything. When he hung up, Emma served the coffee and sat beside him. How are you? Relieved. Nathan held her hand. For the first time in months, I feel like I can breathe. Will the lawyer be able to arrest them? He will. The evidence is solid. Nathan drank the coffee, and the company is safe. No one else can take it from me. Emma smiled. I am happy for you. Sophie and Lucas ran into the kitchen. They were both dressed as superheroes, with capes made from sheets tied around their necks. We are the Thunder Duo, Lucas shouted. We came to save the world. Sophie struck a hero pose. And eat pancakes. Heroes need energy. Emma laughed. Of course. I will make pancakes for the saviors of the world. While she made breakfast, Emma watched Nathan playing with the children. He pretended to be the villain, running through the kitchen while Sophie and Lucas tried to catch him. His laughter filled the house in a way Emma had never heard before. Got you, evil villain. Lucas jumped on Nathan's back. Nathan pretended to fall to the floor. Oh no! I was defeated by the Thunder Duo. Sophie climbed on top of him too. Now you are going to jail. Emma served the pancakes at the table. Thunder Duo, come eat before it gets cold. The children ran to the table. Nathan got up and went to Emma. Thank you for the pancakes. For everything. Nathan kissed her forehead. For bringing joy to this house. For reminding me what it is like to be happy. Emma felt her face warm. You are very affectionate today. I am enjoying it. Nathan smiled. I spent too much time pretending not to feel anything. In the afternoon, Emma was cleaning the living room when the mansion's phone rang. It was Helen, the cook next door. Emma, dear, can I come over for coffee? I need to tell you some news. Of course, Helen. Come whenever you want. 20 minutes later, Helen was sitting in the kitchen with a cup of coffee and a piece of cake. She had a mischievous smile on her face. So, Emma, I heard some interesting rumors. What kind of rumors? That you and Nathan are together. Emma almost choked on her coffee. Who told you that? No one told me. Helen laughed. But I saw you two yesterday in the garden. That kiss was not between a housekeeper and a boss, dear. Emma covered her face. We are trying to keep it discreet. Discreet? Helen tapped the table. The most closed-off man in the neighborhood is smiling like a fool in love. Everyone will notice. Do you think it is very obvious? Obvious? Dear, Nathan had not smiled since his wife died. Now he is humming in the garden. Of course it is obvious. Emma laughed. Okay, maybe we are not very discreet, and you do not need to be. Helen held her hand. You are good for him, and for that girl too. Sophie is happier than I have ever seen. Thank you, Helen. Now tell me everything. How did you two get together? Emma told the whole story. The spilled coffee, the fire alarm, the recordings, Nathan's revelation. Helen listened with wide eyes. My goodness, this story is better than a soap opera. Emma laughed. It is. And what will happen now with Brandon and Vanessa? The lawyer is taking care of it. They will be prosecuted. Serves them right. Helen crossed her arms. I always thought that Vanessa was very fake. She smiled too much. That afternoon, Nathan called Emma to the office. When she went in, he was standing in front of the window, looking at the garden where Sophie and Lucas were playing. We need to talk. Nathan spoke without turning around. Emma felt her heart tighten. About what? About us. Nathan turned. About what we are doing. Emma swallowed hard. Are you sorry? No. Nathan took a step forward. But I need to be honest with you. About what? About how much I want you. Nathan held her face. About how much you changed my life. About how afraid I am of ruining everything. Emma placed her hands over his. You will not ruin anything. How are you so sure? Because I want you to. Emma smiled, and because we will figure this out together. Nathan kissed her. It was a long, intense kiss, full of promises. When they separated, Emma was trembling. I never imagined I would feel this again, Nathan admitted. After my wife died, I thought it was over for me. But it was not over, no. Nathan rested his forehead against hers. Thanks to you. Emma hugged him. The two of them stayed there in silence, just feeling each other's presence. That was when they heard the door open. Sophie was standing there, with Lucas behind her. Daddy, are you dating Emma? Nathan and Emma quickly pulled apart. Nathan cleared his throat. Well, honey, it's just that, because if you are, I think it's great. Sophie smiled. Emma is the best person in the world, Lucas nodded. It's true. My mom is amazing. Nathan knelt in front of Sophie. And you don't mind? Mind? Sophie hugged her father. I always wanted a mom again. And Emma is perfect. Emma felt her eyes burn. Princess, can you be my mom? Sophie asked, looking at Emma. Emma knelt too and hugged the girl. It would be an honor. Lucas tugged on Nathan's sleeve. And can you be my dad? Nathan looked at Emma, who nodded. Of course I can. The four of them hugged right there in the middle of the office. Emma felt like her heart would burst with so much happiness. She had arrived at that house as a cleaner, alone, afraid of the future. And now she was building a family. That night, Nathan prepared a special dinner. He had called a chef to make Sophie's favorite menu, spaghetti with meatballs and ice cream for dessert. The table was decorated with flowers and candles. What is all this? Emma asked, surprised. It's a celebration. Nathan pulled out the chair for her to sit. We are celebrating the beginning of our family. Sophie and Lucas clapped their hands. Emma felt her eyes fill with tears again. You didn't have to do this. I did. Nathan sat next to her. You deserve it. Dinner was full of laughter. Sophie told silly jokes she had learned at school. Lucas showed his new ninja moves between one dish and another. Nathan and Emma looked at each other, smiling, happy. After the children went to sleep, Nathan and Emma stayed in the living room, sitting on the sofa. He had his arm around her, and Emma was leaning against his chest. I have never been this happy. Nathan whispered. Me neither. You know everyone is going to talk, right? The former cleaner who married the millionaire boss. Emma laughed. Let them talk. I know the truth. What truth? That I won you over with heart gestures and air kisses. Emma joked. Nathan laughed. That's exactly it. Those ridiculous and sincere gestures made me realize you were special. Ridiculous? Adorable. Nathan corrected, kissing her head. Completely adorable. Emma closed her eyes, feeling his breath, the warmth of his body, the safety of his arms. For the first time in her life, she felt she was exactly where she should be. And it didn't matter what came next. They were together now, and together they could face anything. The next morning, Emma woke up to someone jumping on the bed. She opened her eyes and saw Sophie and Lucas sitting on top of her, smiling. Good morning, Mom, they both shouted at the same time. Emma sat up, her hair all messy. Good morning, kids. What time is it? 7 in the morning, Sophie answered. Daddy told us to wake you up. He did? Emma rubbed her eyes. Why? Because he made breakfast. Lucas jumped on the bed, and he burned everything. Emma jumped up. He what? She ran downstairs to the kitchen. The scene she found was like a comedy movie. Nathan was standing in front of the stove, wearing a pink ruffled apron that must have belonged to the former cook. Smoke was coming out of a frying pan. Burned eggs were spread across the counter, and there was a puddle of milk on the floor. What happened here? Emma asked, holding back a laugh. Nathan turned around, his face covered in flour. I tried to make a surprise breakfast. You did. Emma looked around. The surprise was big. The eggs ran away from me. Nathan pointed to the frying pan, and the pancakes exploded. Pancakes don't explode, Nathan. Mine exploded. Nathan took off the apron. I give up. Food does not like me. Emma started to laugh. She laughed so hard she had to hold her stomach. Nathan crossed his arms, pretending to be offended. Are you laughing at my culinary tragedy? I am. Emma wiped her tears. You are the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, but you can't fry an egg. It's a different skill. Nathan defended himself. At the office, I am in charge. In the kitchen, the food is in charge of me. Emma hugged him, still laughing. It's okay. I cook and you manage companies, each one in their talent. Deal closed. Sophie and Lucas came into the kitchen and started laughing too when they saw the mess. Emma put her hands on her hips. All right, everyone out. I'll clean this and make a real breakfast. I'll help clean. Nathan grabbed a cloth. No. Emma took the cloth from his hand. You have helped enough. Go take a shower and get that flour off your face. Nathan kissed her forehead. Yes, ma'am. After Nathan left, Emma cleaned the whole kitchen, threw away the burned eggs, and started preparing a real breakfast. Sophie stayed to help, passing the ingredients. Emma, can I ask you a question? Of course, princess. Are you going to marry my dad? Emma stopped stirring the pancake batter. Well, it's still early for that. But do you like him? I like him very much. And he likes you, so you should get married. Sophie spoke as if it were obvious. That's what people who like each other do. Emma smiled. You're right, but marriage is a serious thing. We need to be sure. I'm sure. Sophie crossed her arms. You're perfect for Daddy. And he smiles when he's near you. Emma felt her heart tighten. Thank you, Sophie. You're welcome, Mom. Emma noticed that Sophie had started calling her Mom naturally, without forcing it, without thinking, and that was the most beautiful thing in the world. When breakfast was ready, everyone sat at the table. Nathan arrived with wet hair, smelling of cologne. Emma felt butterflies in her stomach. That man was far too handsome for his own good. Now we're talking. Nathan tasted the pancakes. This is real food, different from your explosive pancakes. Emma teased. I'm never going to live that down, am I? Never. In the afternoon, Emma was tidying the bedroom when the phone rang. It was an unknown number. She answered carefully. Hello? Emma Garcia? A male voice asked. Yes, that's me. This is Ryan Mitchell. Emma froze. Ryan, Lucas's father. The man who had disappeared 4 years ago and never gave any news. Ryan? How did you get my number? It doesn't matter. I need to talk to you. It's about Lucas. What about Lucas? I want to see him. I changed my life, Emma. I have a business, money, stability. I want to be a father now. Emma felt her blood run cold. Now, after 4 years gone, I know I made mistakes, Ryan said, but I want to fix them. Can I come by tomorrow? No. Emma answered quickly. You can't just show up out of nowhere and want to see Lucas. I'm his father. I have rights. Rights? Emma felt anger rise. You abandoned us when he was 6 months old. You never sent a single cent of support, and now you show up talking about rights? I've changed, Emma. Please give me a chance. Emma took a deep breath. I'll think about it. I'm not promising anything. She hung up with trembling hands. Ryan wanted to see Lucas. After all this time, what was she going to do? She went downstairs and found Nathan in the office. He noticed right away that something was wrong. What happened? Emma told him everything. Nathan listened in silence, his expression growing more serious. He can't take Lucas from you, Nathan said when she finished. He abandoned you. No judge would give him custody. But what if he wants visitation? Emma sat in the chair, her legs weak. What if he wants to take Lucas for weekends? It won't happen. Nathan took her hands. I won't allow it. How can you stop it? Because you're not alone now. Nathan knelt in front of her. You have me, and I will use every resource I have to protect you and Lucas. Emma felt her eyes sting, but he's the biological father. So what? Nathan wiped a tear from her face. A father is the one who cares, who stays, who loves, not the one who abandons and comes back when it's convenient. Emma hugged him. Thank you, always. That night, Emma couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Ryan, about Lucas, about everything that could go wrong. Nathan noticed she was awake and pulled her close. Stop thinking. I can't. Then think of good things. Nathan kissed her head. Think of us. Think of our family. Think of the future. What if Ryan wants to take Lucas away? He won't. Nathan turned her to look into his eyes. I promise I will do everything in my power to keep you safe. Emma touched her forehead to his. I love you. It was the first time she said it. Nathan was silent for a few seconds. Then he smiled. I love you too. More than I thought it was possible to love someone again. They kissed. Emma felt that no matter what came next, they would face it together. The next morning, Ryan showed up at the mansion door. Emma opened it and came face to face with him. He looked different. An expensive suit, a fresh haircut, the look of a successful man. Nothing like the Ryan she knew. Emma. He smiled. You look beautiful. What do you want? I already told you. I want to see Lucas. He doesn't want to see you. How do you know? Did you ask him? Emma crossed her arms. He doesn't even know you exist. He never asked about his father because he learned you weren't around. Ryan took a step forward. Then let me meet him. Let me explain that I've changed. That was when Nathan appeared behind Emma. Ryan looked at him surprised. Who are you? I'm Nathan. Lucas's new father. Ryan let out a sarcastic laugh. New father? You can't just replace the biological father. Yes, I can. Nathan put his hand on Emma's shoulder, especially when the biological father abandoned the child. You don't know anything about me. I know enough. Nathan took a step forward. I know you disappeared 4 years ago. I know you never paid child support. I know you never called to find out if your son was alive or dead. And now you show up wanting rights? I have rights, Ryan shouted. I'm his father. No. Nathan spoke firmly. You're just the sperm donor. A father is the one who stays, and the one who's going to stay is me. Ryan looked at Emma. Are you going to let him speak for you? He's saying exactly what I think. Emma held Nathan's hand. You're not taking my son from me. I'm not trying to take him. Ryan changed his tone. I just want to meet him, be part of his life. Too late, Emma replied. You had 4 years to do that. Now he has a family. And you're not part of it. You're going to regret this. Ryan threatened. I'll go to court. I'll fight for my rights. Do that. Nathan crossed his arms. My lawyers will love this case. Ryan left furious. Emma closed the door and leaned against it, trembling. Nathan hugged her. It's okay. He won't get anything. What if he does? He won't. Nathan held her face. I promise. Emma wanted to believe it. She needed to believe it, because the idea of losing Lucas was unbearable, and she would do everything to make sure that didn't happen. In the following days, Emma was tense. Every time the phone rang or the doorbell sounded, her heart raced. She thought it was Ryan coming back. Or worse, a court officer with custody papers. Nathan noticed and did everything he could to distract her. He took everyone to the park, to the movies for ice cream. But Emma couldn't fully relax. One afternoon she was in the kitchen making cookies with Sophie when Helen came by to visit. The neighbor walked in carrying an apple pie and sat at the table. Emma, dear, you look like you haven't slept in days. It's just that I'm worried about something. About Ryan? Emma almost dropped the bowl. How do you know? Helen laughed. Dear, in a rich neighborhood everyone knows everything. The Morrisons' gardener saw a man arguing with Nathan at your door. The news spread. Emma sighed. He wants to take Lucas. He won't. Helen grabbed a still warm cookie. A man who abandons a child has no moral standing to ask for anything. But what if the court sides with him? It won't. Helen banged on the table. First, because he abandoned you. Second, because you have Nathan on your side now. And third, because I'll testify for you if needed. Emma felt her eyes fill with tears. You would do that? Of course. Helen held her hand. You're an amazing mother. Anyone with eyes can see that. No judge is going to take a child from a devoted mother to give him to an absent father. Thank you, Helen. You're welcome, dear. Now give me another cookie before I eat the whole bowl. That night, Emma was lying next to Nathan when he asked, Have you thought about talking to Lucas about Ryan? Emma turned to look at him. I don't know if I should. Maybe it's better he hears it from you than finds out another way. And what if he wants to meet his father? Then you let him. Nathan stroked her hair. But you make it clear that Ryan isn't going to take him away, that he keeps living here, with you, with us. Emma thought about it. Maybe Nathan was right. It was better for Lucas to know the truth. The next morning, Emma called Lucas to talk. The two sat in the garden, away from Sophie and Nathan. Son, I need to tell you something important. You're going to marry Nathan? Lucas asked, excited. Emma laughed. It's not about that. It's about your biological father. Lucas frowned. My biological father? Who is he? He's a man named Ryan. He was here a few days ago. The man who shouted at you and Nathan? You saw? I saw from the window. Lucas lowered his head. He looked angry. He was, but not because we did anything wrong. He wants to meet you. Lucas was silent. Then he asked, Is he my real father? Biologically, yes, but he didn't raise you. He wasn't there. Why not? Emma took a deep breath. Because he wasn't ready to be a father. He left when you were a baby, and now he wants to come back? He does, but that doesn't mean you're going to live with him. You're going to keep living here, with me, with Nathan and Sophie. Lucas looked at the mansion. Nathan is more my father than that, Ryan. Emma felt her heart tighten. Why? Because Nathan plays with me. He teaches me things. He makes me feel safe. Lucas looked at Emma. Ryan only makes me feel scared. Emma hugged her son. You don't have to be afraid. I won't let anything happen to you. Promise? I promise. Lucas hugged her back. I love you, Mom. I love you too, son. When they went back inside, Nathan was waiting. Emma told him what Lucas had said. Nathan smiled. That boy is smart. He is. Emma rested her head on his shoulder. And he's lucky to have you. We're lucky to have each other. 2 days later, Nathan's lawyer called. Ryan had filed a request for visitation in court. Emma felt her world collapse. What do we do now? She asked, trembling. We go to the hearing. Nathan held her hands, and we show the judge that Lucas is better here. And if it is not enough, it will be. Nathan kissed her forehead. Trust me. The hearing was set for a week later. Emma spent those days preparing documents, gathering photos, proving that she had always taken care of Lucas on her own. Nathan hired the best lawyer in the city. On the day of the hearing, Emma was so nervous she could barely speak. She entered the courtroom with Nathan at her side. Ryan was already there, seated with his lawyer. He looked at Emma and smiled, a smile that was too confident. The judge entered and everyone stood. She was a woman of about 50, gray hair, serious expression. She read the case and called Ryan first. "Mr. Mitchell, why are you asking for visitation now after 4 years?" "Because I changed my life, Your Honor," Ryan said, his voice firm. "I have a business, financial stability, my own apartment. I am ready to be a father." "And why were you not ready before?" "I was young, immature, but I matured, and now I want to be part of my son's life." Ryan's lawyer presented documents proving his financial situation. Emma felt her stomach turn. He really had money, a business, everything a father should have. It was Emma's turn to speak. She stood with shaking legs, and Nathan held her hand before she stepped forward. "You can do it," he whispered. Emma went to the front. The judge asked, "Miss Garcia, what do you have to say?" "I have to say that I have raised my son alone since he was born." Emma took a deep breath. Ryan disappeared when Lucas was 6 months old. He never paid child support. He never called. He never wanted to know if my son was alive or not. And now he shows up with money, thinking that buys the right to be a father. "I understand your position." The judge looked at Ryan, "But Mr. Mitchell has the legal right to meet his son." Emma felt tears rise. "But Lucas does not want to meet him. He is afraid." "What do you mean?" Emma told about the day Ryan showed up at the mansion, about how he shouted, about how Lucas saw everything from the window and got scared. The judge took notes. "Miss Garcia, I understand that you are protecting your son, but a biological father has rights. Even when he has been absent." Emma felt the ground disappear. Was she going to lose? Was the judge going to grant visitation to Ryan? That was when Nathan stood up. "Your Honor, may I speak?" "Who are you?" "I am Nathan Caldwell, Emma's boyfriend and Lucas's father in practice." The judge nodded. "You may speak." Nathan walked to the front with confidence. Emma noticed he had something saved, some advantage. "Your Honor, Mr. Mitchell is lying about his intentions." Nathan took an envelope from his briefcase. "I have here recordings of his conversations with third parties, where he admits that he only wants custody of Lucas to receive child support from me." Emma's eyes widened. How had Nathan gotten that? The judge took the envelope. "Are these legal recordings?" "Yes. They were made with the consent of one of the parties involved in the conversation." Nathan looked at Ryan. "Mr. Mitchell does not want to be a father. He wants money." Ryan stood up, read, "That is a lie." The judge listened to the recordings. Emma saw her expression change. It became serious, then indignant. "Mr. Mitchell," the judge said, her voice firm, "these recordings clearly show that your intentions are not noble. You said, word for word, that you will ask for support from the mother's new boyfriend as soon as you get visitation." Ryan turned pale. "I can explain." "No need." The judge struck the gavel. "Request for visitation denied. You have not shown genuine interest in the child's well-being. Case closed." Emma could not believe it. Had she won? Had she really won? Nathan returned to her side and held her hand. "It is over," he whispered. "How did you get those recordings?" "I hired an investigator," Nathan smiled. "He followed Ryan for 3 days. The fool talked too much in a bar." Emma hugged Nathan tightly. "Thank you. Thank you so much. Always." Ryan left the courtroom furious. Emma did not care. He had lost, and he would never again threaten to take Lucas from her. When they returned home, Emma told Lucas everything. The boy hugged Nathan. "Thank you for protecting me." "I will always protect you," Nathan replied. "Now you are my son too." Emma felt she could finally breathe. The threat had passed. Ryan was out of their lives, and the family was safe. A week after the hearing, life went back to normal at the Caldwell mansion. Emma woke up to the smell of coffee. Real coffee, not burned. She went downstairs and found Nathan in the kitchen, but this time he was only serving the coffee she had programmed in the automatic coffee maker the night before. "Learned your lesson?" Emma joked, walking into the kitchen. "I learned that my skills stop at the office." Nathan smiled, "and that you are much better at this than I am. Wisdom is recognizing your own limits." Nathan pulled her by the waist. "Do you know what else I recognize?" "What?" "That I love you, and that I want to spend the rest of my life watching you make coffee in the morning." Emma felt her heart race. That was almost a marriage proposal. Almost. Nathan kissed her forehead. But when I really propose, it will be more romantic than this." Sophie and Lucas ran into the kitchen. "Today is Saturday," Lucas shouted. "Special pancake day," Emma laughed. "How about you two help me make them?" The children climbed onto stools and started helping. Sophie cracked the eggs, Lucas stirred the batter. Nathan leaned against the counter, just watching with a smile on his face. "Aren't you going to help?" Emma asked. "We already learned it is dangerous to let me near the stove." Everyone laughed. Emma realized how perfect that moment was. Simple, but perfect. A real family. After breakfast, Nathan said he had a surprise. He asked everyone to get ready. Emma was curious, but he did not say anything. An hour later, they were all in the car. Nathan was driving, Emma in the passenger seat, the children in the back seat. They left the city and took a road lined with trees. "Where are we going?" Emma asked. "You will see. Mysterious. Always." After 30 minutes, they arrived at a beautiful place. It was a house in the countryside, surrounded by flowered gardens, with a small lake in the back. Emma got out of the car and was speechless. "Nathan, this place is incredible. It is ours," Nathan answered. Emma turned. "What do you mean it is ours?" "I bought it last week." Nathan held her hand. "I thought it would be good to have a place for us to come on weekends. Away from the city, away from everything, just the four of us." Emma felt her eyes fill with tears. "You bought a house for our family?" "I did. It is small, it has only 3 bedrooms, but it is perfect for us." Sophie and Lucas ran inside. Emma and Nathan followed slowly, holding hands. The house was rustic on the outside, but cozy on the inside. It had a fireplace in the living room, a large kitchen, big windows with a view of the lake. "It is perfect," Emma whispered. "Completely perfect." Nathan hugged her from behind. "I knew you would like it." They spent the whole day there. The children played in the garden. Nathan taught Lucas to fish in the lake. Emma and Sophie made cookies in the new kitchen. It was a real family day. At night, after the children fell asleep, Nathan and Emma stayed on the porch looking at the stars. He had brought blankets and hot chocolate. The two of them stayed there, cuddled in silence. "Thank you," Emma said suddenly. "For what?" "For everything. For giving me a family. For protecting Lucas. For loving us the way we are." Nathan turned her face to look into his eyes. "I am the one who should thank you. You brought me back to life. You reminded me what it is like to be happy." They kissed. Long, tender, full of promises. When they returned to the mansion on Sunday night, Emma felt lighter. She felt that everything had fallen into place. Ryan's threat had passed. Brandon and Vanessa were being prosecuted. And she had a real family. The next morning, Emma woke up and Nathan was not in bed. She found it strange because he always woke up after her. She went downstairs and heard voices in the kitchen. When she walked in, she saw Nathan, Sophie, and Lucas dressed in elegant clothes. "What is happening?" "Surprise!" the children shouted. "What surprise?" Nathan came closer. "Put this on." He handed her a box. "And meet us in the living room in 15 minutes. Emma opened the box. Inside was a beautiful wine-colored dress, simple but elegant. She looked at Nathan, confused. "Just put it on," he smiled. "You will understand." Emma went upstairs, took a quick shower, and put on the dress. It fit perfectly. She fixed her hair, put on lipstick, and went downstairs. The living room was decorated with flowers. Helen was there, along with Nathan's lawyer and a few other people. Emma did not know. Nathan was in the center of the room, in a suit, holding a small box. When he saw Emma, he smiled. "What is all this?" Emma asked. Nathan knelt down. Emma covered her mouth. "Emma Garcia, since the day you came into my life, everything changed. You brought joy to this house. You brought love to my daughter. You brought light to my dark days, and I do not want to spend one more day without you by my side." Emma started to cry. Nathan opened the small box, revealing a beautiful ring. "Will you marry me?" Emma could not speak. She just nodded, tears falling. Nathan stood up and placed the ring on her finger. Then he kissed her while everyone applauded. Sophie and Lucas ran to hug them both. Helen was crying too. It was a perfect moment. "I thought you said it would be more romantic," Emma joked, wiping her tears. "Wasn't it?" "It was." Emma laughed. "It was perfect." That night, after everyone left, Nathan and Emma were alone in the living room. She looked at the ring on her finger, still unable to believe it. "When did you plan this?" "Since last week." Nathan smiled. "The country house, the proposal, everything. You are amazing. I am in love." "There is a difference." Emma rested her head on his shoulder. How long will we wait to get married? As long as you want. Nathan kissed her head. But I would like it to be soon. I don't want to wait to call you my wife. Emma smiled. Then let's do something small, just us, the children, and a few close people. Perfect. In the following days, Emma and Nathan planned the wedding. They decided to have it at the country house on a Saturday morning. They invited only Helen, the lawyer, and a few close employees. Sophie would be the flower girl. Lucas would be the ring bearer. Emma didn't want anything too elaborate. She only wanted to be with family. She bought a simple, white, light dress. Sophie chose a pink dress with flowers. Lucas complained about the suit, but ended up agreeing when Nathan said he would wear one too. On the wedding day, Emma woke up nervous. Not because she had doubts, but because it was real. She was going to marry Nathan. She was going to be his wife. She was going to have a real family. Helen helped her get ready. She pinned Emma's hair into a loose bun with a few strands falling on her face. She placed a white flower behind her ear. When Emma looked at herself in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. You look beautiful, dear. Helen wiped her own tears. Nathan is going to have a fit when he sees you. Emma laughed. I hope not. I don't want to be a widow before I get married. The ceremony was in the garden of the country house. There were white chairs arranged in 2 rows. An arch of flowers marked the altar. The officiant waited with Nathan at his side. When the music started, Sophie went out first, throwing rose petals. Lucas came after, carrying the rings on a little cushion. And then it was Emma's turn. She walked alone, slowly, looking at Nathan. He was in a gray suit, white tie, his eyes fixed on her, and he was smiling. That beautiful smile she had seen so few times at the beginning. When she reached the altar, Nathan held her hands. You look beautiful. You too. The officiant began the ceremony. He spoke about love, about family, about new beginnings. Emma barely listened. She was focused on Nathan, on his hands holding hers, on his eyes fixed on her. Then it was time for the vows. Nathan went first. Emma, when I pretended to be blind, I thought I was only protecting my company. But what I ended up discovering was much more valuable. I discovered you. Your sincere gestures, your big heart, your dedication. You taught me to see again, not with my eyes, but with my heart. And I promised to spend the rest of my life making you happy. Emma was crying. She wiped her tears and spoke. Nathan, when I came here, I was lost. Without direction, without hope. You gave me a home. You gave me a family. You gave me love. And even pretending not to see, you saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. You made me believe I deserved to be happy. And I promised to love you every day until the end of my life. They exchanged rings. The officiant smiled. I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. Nathan pulled Emma in and kissed her. It was a long, emotional kiss while everyone clapped. Sophie and Lucas ran to hug them both. Now we are a real family. Sophie shouted, we always were. Nathan answered, hugging them all, we always were. A year later, the Caldwell mansion was completely different. The walls that used to be white and cold now had family photos everywhere. Sophie and Lucas's drawings decorated the fridge. Toys were scattered around the living room. And there was always the smell of homemade food coming from the kitchen. Emma woke up on a Saturday morning and found the bed empty. She heard noise coming from downstairs. She went down in a robe and found a scene that made her stop in the kitchen doorway. Nathan was trying to make pancakes. Again, Sophie and Lucas were around him, giving instructions. There was flour on the floor, broken eggs on the counter, and smoke coming from the frying pan. Dad, I think it burned again. Lucas pointed. Impossible. I timed it just right this time. Nathan flipped the pancake. Oh no. The pancake was black on one side. Emma walked into the kitchen laughing. You never learn, do you? Nathan turned, all covered in flour. Good morning, beautiful wife. We were making a surprise breakfast. The surprise is that the house is still standing. Very funny. Nathan tossed a bit of flour at her. Emma grabbed a handful of flour and tossed it back. Sophie and Lucas started laughing, and soon everyone was throwing flour at each other. The kitchen turned into a battlefield. When they stopped, they were all white from head to toe. Emma looked at Nathan. You know we are going to have to clean all this up, right? It's worth it. Nathan pulled her by the waist. Seeing you laugh like this is priceless. Silly. You're silly. Sophie made a disgusted face. Are you going to be kissing again? Probably, Emma joked. Lucas covered his eyes. Let me know when you're done. Nathan and Emma laughed and kissed anyway. Because now they could. Because they were a family. Because they were happy. Later, after they cleaned up the mess and Emma made real pancakes, Nathan said they needed to go out. He had another surprise. How many surprises do you have saved up? Emma asked. Endless, when it comes to you. They took the car and went downtown. Nathan stopped in front of the Caldwell Industries building. Emma looked at him, confused. Why are we here? You'll see. They went inside. The employees greeted Nathan and looked at Emma with curiosity. They went up to the top floor, where his office was. When they opened the door, Emma saw something that left her speechless. There was a new sign on the wall. Caldwell and Garcia Enterprises. What is this? Emma asked, her voice trembling. Our company. Nathan held her hands. I made you a partner. 50% is yours. Nathan, I can't accept this. Yes, you can. You deserve it. You saved me from this company. You saved me from people who wanted to destroy me. It is fair that you own half. Emma hugged him, crying. I don't know what to say. Say you accept. I accept. Of course I accept. Great, because I already had business cards made with your name. Emma laughed through her tears. You're impossible, and you love me for it. I do. When they got back home, Helen was waiting at the door with a cake. I came to celebrate. I heard you're a businesswoman now. How do you always know everything? Emma asked. I have my contacts. Helen winked. And I came to collect my wedding cake you never gave me. We got married a year ago. Exactly. I've been waiting for a year. Everyone laughed. They went in and spent the afternoon eating cake, talking, being a family. Emma looked around and could hardly believe how her life had changed. A year ago, she was just a cleaning lady desperate for a job. Now she was a wife, a mother, and a businesswoman. At night, after the children fell asleep, Nathan and Emma stayed on the porch looking at the stars. His arm was around her. What are you thinking about? Nathan asked. About how everything changed. Emma rested her head on his shoulder. When I arrived here, I thought it was just another job. I never imagined I would find a family. Me neither. Nathan kissed her head. I thought I would spend the rest of my life pretending to be blind, literally and figuratively. Good thing I spilled coffee on those papers. Best coffee I ever had. Even on the floor. Emma laughed. And to think I was making heart gestures, thinking you couldn't see me. I saw every one. Nathan turned her face to look into her eyes, and each of those gestures made me want to know you more. Made me want to be worthy of that love. You were always worthy. It took time for me to believe that. Nathan touched his forehead to hers. But you taught me. They were quiet for a few minutes. Then Emma asked, Do you know what I find funniest about all this? What? You pretended to be blind to find out who was betraying you. But you ended up finding out who truly loved you. Nathan smiled. True, and it was the best discovery of my life. Weeks later, Emma was at the company when she got a call. It was Helen, very excited. Turn on the TV now, Channel 5, why? Just turn it on. Emma turned on the office TV. It was a news report about Brandon and Vanessa. They had both been convicted of fraud and attempted extortion. Brandon got 3 years, Vanessa 2. Nathan walked into the office. Did you see the news? I did. Emma turned off the TV. It's finally over, finally. Nathan sat in the chair next to her. Now we can focus on what matters, which is our family, our company, our life. Emma held his hand. Our perfect life. It's not perfect, Nathan corrected, but it's ours. And that's better than perfect. That night, everyone had dinner together at the mansion. Sophie talked about her dance performance at school. Lucas showed the new ninja moves he had invented. Nathan and Emma listened to everything, smiling. After dinner, Sophie asked Nathan to read her a story. He picked up a book and the four of them went to the girls' room. Nathan started reading, using different voices for each character. The children laughed. Emma watched, her heart overflowing with love. When the children fell asleep, Emma and Nathan went back to their room. She was getting ready for bed when she saw Nathan standing at the window looking out at the garden. What is it? I'm just thinking. Nathan turned around. About how I almost lost all this because of my stubbornness. Because I didn't want to see what was right in front of me. But you did see it in the end. Thanks to you. Nathan came closer. You didn't give up on me, even when I was cold, distant, difficult. You stayed there, caring, loving, protecting, because it was worth it. Emma held his face. You were always worth it. Nathan kissed her. Long, intense, full of gratitude and love. When they pulled apart, Emma smiled. Do you know what's funny? Tell me. You pretended to be blind, but ended up teaching me to see what really matters in life. Which is love, family, simplicity. Emma rested her head on his chest, the things that have no price. Nathan hugged her. And I learned that sometimes you need to close your eyes to the surface to be able to see what truly matters in the heart. They stayed there, holding each other in silence. Outside, life went on. But inside that mansion, inside that embrace, time had stopped. Because everything they needed was right there. What did you think of Emma and Nathan's story? Leave your opinion in the comments. Rate this story from 0 to 10. What score do you give it? Subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell to follow all our stories, and take a moment to watch more moving stories by clicking here on the end screen.